The border that we are breaking is the emotional and physical boundaries that people feel when they are going through something that is breaking them apart, but they stay strong through it all and they make it through in the end. The community should see in this mural is that when you are being covered or blinded by your emotions, you might have things that are trying to kill you on the outside.
For this documentary, our group brainstormed different ideas that would show us breaking the emotional and physical borders of students at school. The book we read in class, First They Killed My Father, was about a girl who has to change her whole lifestyle after being taken from her home and forced to work on farms by the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia. In the 70s, she faces many different emotional struggles throughout the book, and we brainstormed ways that we could show the different emotional borders at school in the eyes of the teachers and how it might affect them.
It was a quick mural on the book, which showed different, what is the word, barriers that she had to deal with. One, the life and death situations, and two, her being in the dark about a lot of things. That's kind of it.
Bruce,
Yeah,
what are you doing?
covering somebody else's art.
Okay, and what are you about to do?
Put my own artwork up
And what is that?
here. This picture here.
Let's see.
This picture here.
What class is that for?
You don't have to show this part. You don't have to do that part. But this picture here is for
What class and what project?
with the white
What class and what project?
This is Miss West's 10th grade English class,
Okay.
and this is our book project.
What's the name of the book?
First They Killed My Father.
Okay. And you just have to draw the picture, the mural?
Yeah.
And you already discussed it in school? Okay, cool.
It's important that it's kids that are struggling, because if you won't help them, who will? It's pretty hard to notice them, but when you do, you should take charge, because you never know what you can do to change your life. And they might think about suicide, and you might help them, and they might change their mind, which is good, because they won't kill themselves.
The struggles that we faced during this whole process were, at first we wanted to do a food drive, but then it was a lack of communication, and people weren't on top of this whole thing as well as, not as well, as much as we were. And they, like, since it wasn't like their group, their project or whatever, they didn't really pay it much mind or cared, so they didn't keep in contact with us. So kind of failed. So we had to go with Plan B, and we did an actual good job for it to be kind of like a last minute thing. But I'm proud of our work all in all.
For this interview, we picked 4 different Voyager teachers to answer questions about how they can tell if students are emotionally struggling outside of school and the different ways to help motivate them. How do you feel when you see students in the class or in the hallways that you could tell are emotionally struggling, not just in school?
Well, as a teacher, and the longer you teach, you see it a lot. Any teacher sees it a lot. And the longer you teach, the better you get at recognizing it when you see it.
Well, as an educator, I first feel sorry for them because I understand the struggles of being a teenager and the emotional distress that can bring upon a young person.
One, it makes me glad that I'm there. I think it's something that I can contribute to education beyond academic learning. And the more I teach, the better I feel about that, because I feel more and more confident in my own experiences to help those students.
I want to help. I feel like I want to do something to help, and you can't always do something. Sometimes you just have to provide support where you can. Sometimes
I think most all teachers, myself included, you are sympathetic and empathetic to that person, because part of just being a teenager is riding an emotional roller coaster anyways.
It definitely makes me sad and stays with me outside of the school environment in ways that students' academic struggles don't stay with me.
I'm definitely one of those people that are going to tell you to get up, pick yourself up, and move on, and really try to, encourage them to think on the bright side of things and come out of the emotional distress that they are having.
there's always a really fine line. People are so complex, and students are so emotional.
How do you deal with it? Do you talk to them or do you help them?
So that's a complicated question. I like to talk to my students that I know are struggling. They are not always emotionally ready to talk to somebody, and I may not always be the best person for that person to talk to.
If they need space, make sure they get that space, or if they need to go somewhere, don't let them go to the bathroom or something. So the main thing is just be aware.
That probably gives them some insight on things that have happened in my life and how it can relate to their situation, and just tell them that it's going to be okay. And
I usually just kind of ask, how are you? You seem a little down today. Are you okay? I try not to come out and ask a question whereby I admit that I think I know what's bothering them, because I don't want to leave them there, because I could be totally off base.
Yeah, I always like to talk to students if they're going through something, and I think a lot of times it helps more to just listen than to talk. I think it's better to sometimes people just want to get something out.
I think naturally you always want to help them, but sometimes talking to them right away isn't necessarily the best way to confront a student that's going through something emotional.
At the end of the day, it's up to them whether or not they want to continue to be, emotionally distressed, or if they want to live a happier life.
Does the attitude of your students affect your attitude? Why or why not?
Well, it depends. Sometimes my kids be getting on my nerves.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think the attitude of my students absolutely affects not just how I interact with them on like a socio-emotional level, but also on an academic level, and how I enjoy my classes and how I teach them.
If you come in and you're like, the whole class is just bummed about something, or everybody's really aggravated about something, or people are really excited about something, I totally feed off of that.
Usually, no. I really try to, if a kid is having a bad day, I hope that I can bring some joy to them as far as joking in class or just something. I prefer a more positive energy, so I try not to let the kids get me down, but I'm human too.
How can you differentiate a student who is emotionally struggling and someone who might not just understand their work?
Because you have to know your students. Like, that's very, very important. Like, I know if Cassie comes in and is like not having a good day, I know it's because she doesn't understand it. I know it's because I know her.
It's real easy. It's real easy as a teacher. It's just basically a student who is confused versus a student who is going through something emotional. They look and act totally different.
I think it's in their behavior. So you can have students who are, let's say, not turning in work. If that student has historically been turning in work and suddenly they're not turning in work, that's kind of a red flag. So if it's a change.
You can usually tell. I mean, first of all, y'all talk a lot. Y'all talk like to each other. You talk to me. I mean, I can usually tell if something's going on that's outside of school, because you'll like gossip right next to me, and I'll be like, oh, something's going on outside of school. Or I can tell if you're struggling with something because you're complaining about a grade, or because it's like a different concern face that you guys have when you're upset about something personal, or when you're upset about something related to school. It's pretty.
So, so when do you know when to step in either of the situations?
It's just different levels. I mean, different. Not every teacher should step in. It really depends on the relationship that the student and the teacher have. Obviously, everyone has the teacher that they have the best relationship with. So the first thing I would do, I would think about, should I be the one that would step in? And if not, like maybe Miss Plummer has a really good relationship with this student, so I would go tell her, hey, be aware of this student. She's acting like this. Just see if anything's wrong with her, and that would be the way I'd step in, by making another teacher aware. But if it was a student that I felt I had a good relationship with, then I would make that decision to step in whenever it's going longer than maybe one period or one day, or whenever they're doing something like really drastic, outside of their own character, like not talking at all, crying, something really showing more emotion. And then obviously anytime if somebody else told me, or if there was some sort of hint that they were doing anything dangerous or about to do anything, like just like where they would need to see like a psychologist, or like really bad depressed, and that's when you would immediately step in.
How might emotional borders affect your work?
I am a big believer in just breaking down barriers. So if I have my own borders and my own obstacles that get in my way, I always want to tear those down.
Again, I am human. I tell my students to come in every day like it's a new day. So I try to do the same and try not to bring situations from home into work, even though obviously I'm human, so that does happen.
I try not to bring it to work, but we do have such a supportive staff that usually I can go into the atrium and vent or talk to somebody that I work with, and I can usually keep it outside of the classroom.
But my kids really bring me joy, so in that aspect, I can kind of like leave it at home and be here and be with them and enjoy them as we learn together. So
How do you feel when you see students?
they come back in, Miss Lauren, no other teacher lets us use a bathroom pass, all you got. Adam, not Adam. Adam, you see us video recording.
You can go around. It's hard to figure out what to do. Help her talk to them.
I see you Wednesday.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean,
Hold it down, bro. Hold it down.
Exactly.
POP, hold it down.
POP.
10th grade team, hold it down.
10th grade. What was the question?
Take your quiz.
Wait, does my hair look okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Students in class or in the hallways that are. How does the attitude of the okay, affect your attitude? No, that's not what I'm meant to ask. Okay, right. Okay. So, what kind of struggles did the group face when we were working on this project?
Cut. Stop moving,
Tyler.
Tyler.
I just edited it up. Just keep. Stop moving. Or leave.
Or leave.
Okay. We picked the.
Since y'all gonna do a food drive.
These nuts.
I was gonna.
That's going.
Grenade
That's going.
for you.
Anyway,
That's going.
Anyway.
Too.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to video.
That was an awkward note. Girls doing here.
What are you girls guys?
Them girls will be loving you, kid. Isn't that the hair salon you go to, Ty?
No, I don't go to
You're
it.
so adorable. With your little dimples and.
That'd be funny.
Yes, it is. Good catch.